Hi everybody, welcome to the CC and JT Amateur Hour, where production values go to die. CC.
JT.
And it is November 19th, Sunday, November 19th.
Wow.
It is the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So for those that celebrate,
what? In the United States.
In the United States.
Yes.
Right, in the United States. So if y'all celebrate all that, so on and so forth, we will be celebrating ourselves, so we're looking forward to it. Woo, woo, woo.
Family time.
Family time, family time.
There's been a lot going on.
I guess there's been a lot going on. How do you feel about your writing project? I guess we should start off with personal writing projects.
Well, it is about the same place it was before because work was being work again this week, so I didn't get as much done as I had hoped to. But it is, I feel like I'm making good progress, just not as quickly as I would like.
Yeah. And I've sort of gone off on a different track with writing right now, which I guess this podcast is going to be about, is what's going
Yes.
on. And but before we do that, we need to show off our books. Da, 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 da. So Vanna, tell us about our books.
So we have From Tundra to Tiara, the cozy romance that we wrote together and we released on ebook back in January of this year, so January of 2023. As you can see, this version does not have the proof across the cover. This is one of our shiny new author copies. We did an unboxing this week. I think it was this week when they came in. So those are now available on Amazon.com for $9.99 if you're so inclined. And the price will probably be changing, I'm guessing, by the end of the year. But for now, for the holiday season, if you feel like a paperback copy of our cozy romance, it's good for this time of year because some of it does take place during the winter in frozen areas. Of course, some people might prefer to read that in the summer, which is also good. It's a year-round one, but it's good for this time of the year.
Yeah.
The one next to it is a compilation of a couple of JT's books. The Tucci Chronicles consists of Love and Death on I-80 West and Starting Over in Vegas. So this one is not yet available. It is coming soon. Is the ebook still available, or are the
two ebooks are still available, and the compilation is on pre-sale right now for December 1st. So it's coming up here pretty soon. So this is actually the big reveal, because this is the cover reveal for the Tucci Chronicles, because this is actually the cover reveal for the Tucci Chronicles because it hasn't been out in public yet. So it's a fairly hefty book. When I compiled it in
Atticus.
When I compiled it in Atticus, the hard copy came out, the paperback came out to 500 pages. So it's a fairly deep read, and you can see by
Yes, it's also a 6x9.
Yeah.
Whereas I believe ours is a 5x7. So
something like that.
It is a much more hefty book, but it is also a lot more. It's two books in one, so there is a lot more content in the book.
So it'll keep you engaged, I hope. And
probably give content warning.
And content warning. The two books are, as we discussed last week, are the yin and the yang. The cozy romance is pretty much like that. It's pretty much, I don't even know if it counts as fade to black kind of.
I don't know. I believe, I haven't read it for a while, but there are some not too graphic scenes of intimacy, but it's not real in your face. It is pretty cozy, and it doesn't go very graphic.
Yeah, I think the thing we would say is we'd let our grandparents read it. We'd let our grandmother read it because it's
sweet.
It's sweet.
It's sweet.
For the Tucci Chronicles, we don't let anybody read it. No.
Well, you should talk about the backstory again. I know you've mentioned it before, but initially when you released the book, you were using another pseudonym.
Yeah, because it was so graphic, and I've said this before. It was a writing exercise basically. I wanted to see if I could do things that I've seen other successful writers do. Not that I'm saying I'm comparing myself to them, but I wanted to see if, the writers are listed in the book. So I won't repeat them, mostly because I can't remember the names. But I wanted to see if I could emulate these famous writers by being, graphically violent, but have an important story to tell. And for me, I think I succeeded. I would like other folks to read it and tell me that too, but that's up to the reader, that's up to their taste, that's up to their critique. It's not the cup of tea for everybody. It is not something we would let our grandparents read, that's for sure. Oh, boy.
Or the grandkids.
Yeah.
But it is well written. It is a good redemption story. There's a strong redemption arc in it with the main character, but there are definitely a lot of scenes of graphic violence, graphic sex, and if that is something that is too much for you, you probably want to avoid that book. But there are a lot of books out there that are very similar to this. So if you do enjoy that type of gritty realism, maybe, I guess that would be one way of putting it, then these are definitely good books to read for that.
Yeah, from Tundra to Tiara is more likely to be a Hallmark movie. And the Tucci Chronicles, I'm not saying Keanu would read, but
oh, like the John Wick, maybe.
Yeah. But okay, I think we've dwelled on that enough. But anyway, so this is out now, and this will be out December 1st. Woo! And to talk, I've got and
the romance is Amazon only right now.
Yeah.
We may more widely release it in the future. I'm not sure. This one will be available on Amazon, Barnes Noble, Kobo.
Yes.
So this one will be more widely available, the Tucci Chronicles. So you'll have a little bit more options. We haven't expanded out to things like Apple yet, but we're kind of considering that in the future. And no audiobooks yet, but I have been thinking about that as well.
Audiobooks?
Audiobooks.
Audiobooks.
Audio, which...
Audio.
Audio,
yeah, that'd be fun trying to read Tucci Chronicles as an audiobook. Oh, boy. Yeah.
We'll see.
So that actually gives us a good segue to talk about the rest of my library, which is going to be pretty much the rest of this podcast. Is I have, for better or for worse, are in the process of taking all the books that I have on my Amazon library. I've taken them off Kindle Unlimited. I've taken them off Kindle Unlimited, and I have started the process of not moving them, but expanding them out to Barnes & Noble and Kobo, so they'll be more widely available. Now, I'm not fooling myself, because Amazon is the beast. Amazon is the beast when it comes to that kind of self-publishing, when it comes to that kind of availability. But there's some folks that are really anti-Amazon, anti-Kindle too. And out of respect to them, and also just to simply make it more widely available, I have started the process of putting them out to Barnes and Noble and Kobo after the Kindle Unlimited contract. It's a 3-month recurring contract, expires. So the day after those contracts expires, and really it's just a checkbox, after that checkbox is unchecked after it expires, then that's when they will become available. And as an added bonus, for lack of a better word, what I'm doing is I'm taking the original manuscripts and I am copying them into Atticus. So it gives me an opportunity to review them and fix the humongous typos. And for example, my very first book, Duties Faithfully Executed, I did that yesterday. And yeah, I found some interesting typos and I fixed those. And it's now available on Barnes and Noble and Kobo sometime in December. It's all pre-saled for December. The challenge that I'm having, or that I had, especially with the first book, Duties Faithfully Executed, is that it being my first book, and I suspect I'm going to find this with my other early books, is structurally there are things that I would not do now that I did when it was my first book. And, there are some technical aspects. And I don't want to say they're issues and I don't want to say they're problems, but I can see how they would get in the way of the readability. And so I considered changing those issues and, just restructuring the book, not changing the content, just reordering things and restructuring it. So the structure would be, I don't want to say more traditional, but, maybe more traditional. And then, and I went back and forth on this for a while. And then I ultimately decided not to do it because I wanted, this book was first published in 2013. It's 10 years old now, 10 and a half years old now. And so, I wanted to show some respect to that person from, 10 plus years ago. It shows some respect to the challenges that he went through, shows some respect to the headaches and stress. You got to remember that the J.T. Hume of 10 years ago was still a full-time employee in a very stressful job. And it was just a very stressful time in my life. So I did things the way that I did for reasons which I don't remember. But it doesn't matter. That person, and I don't mean to talk about it as somebody that's not me, because obviously that's me. But still, it was my first book, and out of respect to the efforts and energies that went through that first book, I decided to leave it as it is, except for fixing the typos. And there was only like 3 or 4. Probably I missed like a dozen, because you always miss typos. But out of respect to that person, I decided to leave the book as it is. So the good news is if you do have the Kindle book already and you want to download it and get rid of those typos, it's free. You can go out to your library, and maybe next time I'll show you how to do that. You can go out to your library and get the updated copy, so you won't see those typos, or at least the ones that I saw. If you saw more, let me know, because really, it's easy to fix. Just, I've got it already imported into Atticus. Fix it, export it into an EPUB, upload it. Then, like less than 72 hours later, the changes are in there. So if you see any mistakes in there, let me know, and I'll be happy to fix them.
And it is, as you've mentioned Atticus a few times now, it has been a real big game changer. And that's one of the reasons that we are going more wide with the distribution of the books, because Atticus has been such a big help in formatting the paperback copies, because doing it for the ebook version in Word is, it's serviceable. There are still things that are frustrating, but it's a lot easier than it used to be. Mm-hmm. Using Atticus for the formatting of the paperbacks has really been a huge game changer. The next challenge, of course, is making sure that the covers fit properly, mm-hmm. because, as we mentioned previously, determining the page count is important to determine the spine width, so that you make sure that your cover is properly wrapped. And who knows, someday we may take a wild hair into our head and try maybe a hardback version of something with an actual physical wrapper that goes over. But that would be something super special.
Yeah.
Where, for example, yesterday I was talking with our youngest daughter, the author, and she was talking about doing a leather-bound version of one of her books. And I'm like, we were talking about how that would be a super duper special edition. We would never do that through a publisher. That would be something that we would have to do physically. So, but there are people who enjoy having those various different cover options, or, maybe have the hardback and the paperback and the ebook. And super fans tend to do that type of thing. Not that we were anywhere near superfan land, if you will.
Well,
but
we have one.
We have a couple, actually. We signed our first autograph.
We autographed our first book this week.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes. Shout out.
We're a big deal now. Please remember us the way we were. I should say just very quickly also, because it was so easy to do the physical copy, what's also coming, you'll be seeing a third book joining here pretty soon. The proof will be here tomorrow, actually. The proof will be here for that tomorrow. So next week, we're going to be doing Boom, Boom, Boom. We'll have 3 books up there. And we'll have more details about that as we get closer. But so it really, we're not being paid by Atticus for this at all. We're not endorsing. Atticus has actually pretty much ignored our social media because we're probably
They
like,
have a life. And
yeah,
basically, I believe it was created by an author.
yeah.
He calls himself a Kindlepreneur. I'm afraid I don't remember his name right off the top of my head, which I should. But I had been looking around desperately, figuring out some way of doing these formatting of the paperbacks in something other than Adobe InDesign, because we were doing some Adobe things earlier. It doesn't work for us. Not to say there are some people who absolutely love Adobe. So it just doesn't work for us personally. But Atticus has been working really well. It's very straightforward.
Right.
It's got a variety of different options and styles that you can work with. I believe I'm not sure what you'd call it, like the initial template that comes up is Finch. So if you're a fan of To Kill a Mockingbird, obviously,
Yeah.
Atticus Finch. So it is something that's apparently been tested and multiple times by the person who created it, because he was doing this for himself and he shared it out into the world. And I think it's one of our better writing related expenses at this point.
Yeah, we probably should eventually show, do some on-screen stuff here to show us how easy it is for Atticus, but we're not that techno savvy yet, but it's probably pretty fairly easy to do, because obviously if you look at YouTube, thousands if not millions of people do that every day. There was also one more application that we used, one more software application that I'm more comfortable with. CC mentioned Adobe. What I use is the free version of GIMP to do the cover. So when we did the book contest for the Tucci Chronicles, it came with the wraparound for both the e-copy and paper copy, but it wasn't exactly right. And so what it is I pulled it into GIMP, which is the free version of Adobe
InDesign.
No, it's even stronger than that. The big suite.
Oh, the Adobe Cloud?
Yeah, it's
something. Okay.
Yeah, we all know what I'm trying to Photoshop.
Oh, right,
it's really cool version of Photoshop. And so what I had to do is I had to make adjustments in GIMP to get it to fit in both the Kindle and the Barnes Noble soft copies or paperbacks that are coming out. So if I found it personally easier to use, and again, there's thousands of videos out there, so you don't get intimidated by using Photoshop, which of course costs a monthly fee. Don't get us going down that road.
And also talking about a monthly fee, like most people, we use the Microsoft Office suite. So for covers, I tend to use Publisher, because that's something that I've used quite frequently over the years. So I've been keeping up with the updates and additions and the way they shifted things around. So when I was doing the cover for From Tundra to Tiara, I actually did that one in Publisher and got it. It was a bit of a challenge, but got it to eventually fit properly into the Amazon publishing template that they have online.
Yeah, the cover part of creating these books is not so much for the ebooks, but for the paperbacks. It is really intimidating, and there's a learning curve. And so, if you have questions or anything like that, if you're trying to do it for yourself, you're trying to do your own self-publishing thing, and you're trying to do the paperback, if you want to reach it out and ask questions, we'll kind of muddle you through. We sort of got through it, but really, if you spend time in front of YouTube and
Yes.
get the people that have spent money learning how to do stuff. We're still amateurs because we want to be able to participate in the Olympics, so we're keeping our amateur status. But
The Book Olympics.
yeah, but we think we've been pretty successful. Now, for the third book, I think I think it'll be okay, and I'm going to show you that a possible defect. And we'll show that next week when we do that cover reveal. We're going to do the cover reveal early because the book is going to be coming out
January.
So we're going to do the cover reveal early on that one, so you'll be able to see. And we'll talk about the upsides, but also the possible defect, which I just may leave in there because I may not have any choice. But we'll talk about that next week. So this broadcast has become very technical about publishing and using Atticus and using GIMP and using Publisher. And those kind of things, and so and we've sort of gotten away from the craft and the art of writing, but this is all part of the writing experience, especially if you want to be self-published.
Yes.
Especially if, for example, if you want to create your own covers, it's not just the issue of creating your own covers. there's the reality of having to fit it to the universe to which you publish it to, because the Kindle cover criteria and the Barnes and Noble cover criteria are close, but they're not exactly the same. They do have differences. They do have minor size differences, and if you, even for the e-covers, and if you don't pass their review, you ain't gonna publish. So this kind of discussion is kind of important to have.
And it's good to have those checks and balances going into this as you're publishing, especially with people like us who are very new to this part of the process. Having the software either through Kindle or Barnes and Noble to say that, hey, your cover doesn't quite fit properly within these parameters. Your spine isn't lined up within this spine template. This is not going to work. That gives you the opportunity to fix it before you start creating these physical copies. And we went through 2 versions of From Tundra to Tiara, because the first version, the internal formatting was off, which threw off the page count. And then I had created the spine to fit a certain page count that didn't match the interior of the book. And I learned that, that is a problem. It fit within the template, so it was printed, but it didn't fit the book itself because of the way the interior had been formatted. So there are a lot of different things to consider when you're working on this process. And it's something we were completely intimidated by. It wouldn't even consider doing the paperback versions of these books until we quite got to that point where we had at least a generic knowledge of how to do it.
Yeah, it's a big rock to push up the hill, and
It is.
And you have to be patient, because that rock's going to come rolling back down. And you just need to, I don't want to say you need to do this, because that, may put you in some pressure on you. But this is just one of those things where, you have to make a decision as if it's something that you want bad enough. Are you going to push that rock back up the hill? Or are you going to leave the rock at the bottom of the hill for a time period, which is what we did. Mm-hmm. And then we got over it, and then we started pushing the rock in. And finally, at least for 3 books, we were managed to push the rock all the way over and up the hill and over on the other side. So, hey, yay for us. So never give up, never surrender.
Yay, Galaxy Quest.
Yay, Galaxy Quest.
Love that movie, by the way.
Yeah, so a little technical, but I think that if you've reached the stage of, publishing books at the stage that we did, you should be patting yourself on the back.
Definitely.
Because writing is just an incredibly complex process from beginning to end. And some folks are cognizant of that. Some folks, you see them wandering at Barnes and Noble, where my book is going to be for sale, at Barnes and Noble, and you kind of wonder sometimes if they understand what we writers go through and what publishers go through to get the book to them. And and I'll admit that before I started writing, I didn't have a single solitary clue how complex everything could get very, very quickly, and equally important, how complex we writers make it, sometimes more so than it deserves to be.
And that's one thing I've been thinking about recently. As you mentioned, we kept things kind of just at baseline for a long time because we weren't comfortable pushing ourselves any further than that. I think part of that process was that we needed to catch up with technology. Technology needed to catch up with us. And everybody learns in different ways and at different rates. So everything kind of came together in a perfect storm where we got to the point where we felt comfortable enough to at least attempt it. And when we saw this second version of From Tundra to Tiara and how pretty it looked, I mean, if you saw the unboxing, I was crying. So
and that's not on our YouTube, by the way.
It is a very emotional experience for us. So it is something that you really, once you get past the point of intimidation and you get to the point where you feel like, maybe I can do this, give it a try. If it doesn't work out, you're not any worse off. Yep. You just, wait until you find that perfect series of events that gets you there. It might not be today, maybe it'll be next year. You never know. There could be more software coming soon that will make this, a snap.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, I did notice that when I was doing the upload to Barnes and Noble, it kept asking me if the e-book that I was uploading, if the cover was part of that file. So I guess there is a way to put the two together and just make it one upload, which, I didn't have any idea on how to do it. So I just, but doing it as a separate process is not a big deal. But so what CC is saying is just absolutely true because, going back to Duties Faithfully Executed, the first time getting that up there was the software that that Amazon Kindle gave us at the time was almost DOS based, and that's for the propeller heads. Do you remember my MS DOS? It was almost that level of basic programming, but now to upload it is just so much simpler. And with Atticus, and again, we don't mean to sound like a commercial, but we remember how difficult it used to be, and this is just it's a brand new world. And thank you, thank you.
Thank you to everybody who put in all the work to get us to this part, because when these types of softwares or the companies themselves upgrade their processes to the point where it's much simpler for people, it's because a lot of other people have put blood, sweat, and tears in the background to get us to that point, because there's a lot of trying and failing. And, it's like as we mentioned, the Atticus thing, people were so frustrated trying to format things in Word. Word is not a terrible program. It's meant for one specific thing. No, I mean, for business correspondence and things like that, or for drafting your novel if you want. That's kind of old school. But it's perfectly serviceable for that, but it's not meant for publishing. And in order to be able to do the interior formatting for a paperback, you need to have the ability to shift the margins so that you have the proper gutters. And Word is not set up for that. So finding Atticus allowed us to have that. It was already set up in the program. And that's the kind of thing that really helps us, because unless you have a lot of savvy, I could not figure out how to shift it. And a lot of other authors who have tried to use Word have not been able to use it in a way that is comfortable and easy to do. So, everybody behind the scenes, kudos to you. Thank you for all the time and frustration you put into this to get the rest of us to this point where we can do it a lot more easily.
Yeah, and that kind of it leads to the quality issue. We're going through all this stuff, and not only us, but hundreds, if not thousands of writers every day are putting together books that they're going to be putting up on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and Kobo. And there are ranges of quality, shall we delicately say. There are ranges of qualities in these books. And I can only promise you this, that CC and I, we also sweat blood, sweat, and tears of our books. And we are giving you the quality product, the best quality product. And we've received good reviews from people that's not related to us, who are not related to us.
Yes.
So we think that our books are good, but we better think our books are good because we created them. But we think also, objectively speaking, that we think these books are good and worth your time. And I know, and I want to say that out loud because I've been stung by bad books. I've spent money on books, and they're just there's work to be done. And maybe I'm a snob, maybe I'm deeper into the craft than maybe I should be, but when people are making basic mistakes, I don't want to go too much further than that. I'm just saying that I think our books are good, and I think our books are worth your time. And so if you want to give them a try, fine. And if you buy the book and you get through them and it's past the refund period and you want your money back, reach out to us. I'll give you your money back. I just want you to be honest as to what you think was wrong with them. What did you think was wrong with the book that you read? Because I keep saying this over and over again, give us feedback, because feedback makes us not only better writers, but it makes us better human beings. So let us know what we did wrong. And, I'm not giving you your money back.
Okay, wrong maybe
Well, we could have done better
but also remember that reading is a very subjective experience. Art in it, all its forms, is very subjective. So the book that one person may absolutely adore is not somebody else's cup of tea. If you like From Tundra to Tiara, you may absolutely hate the Tucci Chronicles because they're very different books.
And vice versa.
What JT is saying here is that we are trying our best to put out a quality product. It's not going to be perfect because nothing ever is. You know, no matter how many editors, how many proofreaders, there are always going to be typos. Something may get misprinted. I've noticed already in seeing our From Tundra to Tiara come from different publishers, different publishing locations. There is different quality to the book covers and stuff. So there are aspects that we can't control on our end because we don't do the physical printing of the books. So if there's a serious problem with it and it's something like a cover print, that would obviously be on the publisher. But everything else where we're trying to make it the best quality product we can, you know, reach out to us and we'll try to do our best to make it right, because we understand how frustrating it can be to get a book. You spend a lot of money on a book, which honestly, money is a whole different issue because authors put so much time and effort and money behind the scenes to create these. That was something else I didn't really think about. You know, it's like when you don't have a lot of money to spend on books, when you go to the store and you see the sticker price, it's kind of like a little bit of a shock. But then you have to think about how many hours the author put into it, how many people were involved in editing and publishing this book. So there is a reason for the cost, but it can be a lot of expense for somebody. So we want to make sure that you feel the expense was worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah. I think that we pretty much covered everything. Our feelings on, you know, actually publishing the book, and we've given you some ideas on how to publish the book, and we've given you a resource. But also go to YouTube.
Yeah. Honestly, I have watched so many YouTube videos, and as I mentioned before, with the whole idea of learning and finding your specific learning niche, you really have to find people that resonate for you, that people that you can understand. So if one type of author's video doesn't work out for you, try some others. There are a lot of authors out there. So
there's a lot of people out there wanting to help you be the best writer that you can be. So there are resources for you, and you know, you just got 2 more. So congratulations. Okay, I think we've blathered on enough. I think we've worn these poor people out that need to have a life. And also, it's, you know, it's Sunday, NFL football.
Woo. Still that time of year. And we're almost done with our coffee.
Oh, and we're almost done with our coffee. So as we always say, if you want your slings and arrows and ideas, you can reach out to us on our website at www.carsonhume.com, where you can find links to our books, you can find links to our podcast, you can find links to our social media, you can find links to our videos. We're all over the place. And pretty soon we're going to be seeing a post about all the books that are going to be available on Amazon, Barnes Noble, and Kobo. So it's going to be a lot of stuff going on out there. And we're pretty excited about it. And as exciting as 2023 has been, I think 2024 is even going to be more so, because we might actually release new books.
Yes. Woo. Working on momentum. And I did put up a video on YouTube where I talked a little bit about my future publishing plans. So maybe if you want to hop over from JT's YouTube to mine and check that one out. It's about a 10-minute video. I talk about kind of our history together and what I plan to do for 2024. Try to help keep me accountable.
Yeah. Yeah, basically it's gotten to the point now where we see a camera, you just can't shut us up. Okay. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful, safe day. There's going to be an unboxing later because we're supposed to be getting some boxes here of a book, so it's going to be pretty exciting. So you might see another video of that, another unboxing. So those are always exciting to see the culmination of so much hard work. And buy our books.
Someone is excited. He's putting out a lot of time and effort into these books right now. So please support JT.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, that over there is CC.
That's JT. If
y'all take care of yourself, have a great week. Love you lots. Take care.